So it's about minus 32 last night and windy. I'm just going to walk into the winter shed to see if the shed's able to hold its temperature up throughout last night. It was a cold one. My fans are hardly running, just at an idle. And we'll just take a look and see what the shed temperature's at. Just go into my wintering shed. 4 degrees. The thermometer on the truck says minus 33 right now. The bees are able to hold this shed at 4 degrees. We'll look at the air intake vent, and it is right frosted up. I'll stand over here, I can feel cool air. You can actually see the condensation in the air as the cold air comes into the room. It's just ridiculous. So I just want to see what my CO2 levels are, because this is a very low air exchange. Okay, so within the shed, so I'm standing within the aisle here, we're in the middle of the shed, and it's 8 degrees air temperature, it says. 30% humidity and 5,500 parts per million CO2. It's kind of neat. I'm hearing like this hum from the beehives beside me. Just going to see what the CO2 level is within the colony of one of these. It's 5,480 parts per million. We'll just 80% humidity, and the CO2 level is increasing. It's at 9,200 parts per million, steadily increasing here. And it's plateaued at about 9,000 parts per million CO2. So that's kind of cool. So with it being minus 33 outside right now, and not adding any heat to this shed, these bees are maintaining a temperature of 4 degrees, which makes me extremely happy. That tells me that I have live hives in the shed. It's extremely cold outside. It takes a lot to heat a room of this size. These hives are kicking off a lot of heat, and even with that steady air exchange, even though the air exchange is extremely low, there's still that continuous cool air exchange into this room to provide fresh air for these bees. These bees are able to maintain this temperature. With that low air exchange, we're seeing ambient CO2 level of, this is reading 5,500 parts per million, 6 degrees Celsius, and 40% humidity. So I'm actually impressed with the amount of humidity that is within the shed, with the cold, dry air coming into the shed, and then that warm, moist air being pulled out of the shed. It will suck the humidity out of this room, but these bees are kicking off enough heat, and with that heat they kick off moisture. So that's all I basically can do. Just with this cold weather, I can enjoy the fact tonight I can lay in my bed easy, knowing my hives are sheltered from this extreme temperature. These bees don't know any different of the cold outside. And yeah, just monitor my conditions and rest easy. So I'm out mixing feed for the cattle today. I'm just sitting here waiting for the mixer to mix up the straw within the batch here. So what we do is we feed our cattle the TMR ration. We have a silage pile, straw pile, DDGs, oats. Throughout the entire farm, we mix the ration for the cattle specific to their dietary requirements. So here I'm feeding some mature cattle, about to calve, and we have a mix of, here we just have a little graph here of what's going on. So we mix in a bunch of silage and a bunch of straw with some mineral, and that gets mixed up and fed to the side. We have other rations here, like the bowls, where we mix in a little bit more oats into the ration, the straw, the silage, and a little bit of protein. And this way we can target our animals' needs precisely. A very efficient way of feeding our animals, keep the condition on them, and not have any waste. So right now, the mixer is mixing together the silage and the straw. It's giving it a good churn before I dump it into the pen. And we pull it. The silage pile is out there. And then we mix our straw in. We grind our straw up so that it's easier for the cattle to consume. And then they can't sort it out as easy. Our grain is over there in the other pile we mix in. So it's just a constant mix and feeding all day. Just in from doing chores, my feet, my fingers, and my face are all frozen. So I'm just in to warm up a little bit. So I made a little bit of coffee and just trying to take the chill out of my bones. Adam was up first thing in the morning, got all the tractors running. We have 4 tractors that need to run every morning to feed these cows. Andre was pretty much calving right when I got to the farm, right till I left the farm. There's calves are coming out like crazy. We've got 375 calves now and another 250 to go, but we have an insulated barn, so we can bring the animals in and calve them out in the barn and keep the calves under cover for the first couple days. Weather like today is minus, the tractor was saying minus 35, and there's quite a bit of a breeze today, so that wind chill is just a killer. And we have to be really careful that these cows, their teats will freeze, and there'll be big problems trying to get the calves to suck and such. So we try to keep them, all the animals, as protected as we can within the loose housing and all the shelters we provide. We lay down a lot of straw for them so then they can bed down. And these straw packs is really, it's kind of neat how these straw packs work. We bed them in a dedicated spot, and as the straw accumulates and the manure accumulates on these packs, it's almost like, well, the manure decomposes and starts giving off heat, and we lay fresh bedding over top of it, and the animals will lay down on this bedding, and it's just like sitting or lying down on a heated blanket. There's this tremendous warmth coming up. So that's what keeps the animals warm as they'll go and they'll bed down on the straw pack. So we keep them out of the wind with windbreaks and a good solid manure pack, so everybody has space to be able to find a spot on the pack. And today I was doing a bit of feeding, so we're a bit of short staffed, so Andre put me on the feed wagon this morning. And we just kind of bumped up the ration a little bit to give him a little more energy, just to help him with this cold. And oh man, the kids were called off school today, and they didn't mind that one bit. But I took advantage of that and brought them to the barn and threw them a fork, and they helped us bed the barns down today. So we put them to work, and now they're back in the house playing video games. So as she goes, I'm just going to end off the day after I head back to the farm for a little bit more chores. I'm going to come back here, end the day off with a bit of bookwork. I got a bunch of stuff I got to get through. Then I want to dedicate about an hour to MBA and head inside for a nice warm shower and then call it a day.